Hello to everyone listening to the Platinum Mask YouTube channel. I have with me Alexis Farrell of Lex in the Box, and she's an overall DFW media personality. So if you want some photos taken, you want a DJ to your event, you want an event planned, you want to be interviewed, she's the person to hit up. And, you know, she's been doing a lot of these different types of media personality sets across the DFW Metroplex. So I wanted to thank you again, Alexis, for, you know, coming on this YouTube channel and honestly just kind of explaining your story for anyone possibly interested on maybe following your footsteps on becoming media personalities or maybe just working in broadcasting in general.
Oh, wow. So I'll just say I started off with college. Well, I started in high school, but as far as mastering the craft, college. I wanted to major in broadcast communication. And so if you want to do it, try to brush up on your skills on it. And then who's to say you can't do your own thing on YouTube like I do? I have a little bit of experience in radio and TV, but most of my experience come from me going out and conducting my own interviews and getting my own footage. So if you want to be in the business, go do your own stuff first.
And kind of on like the topic of gaining experiences, I know you kind of we're kind of talking before this about your start with high school. I was kind of wondering on, you know, why in kind of like the interview process, like how you were selected over everyone else when it came to being the host of your high school's radio broadcasting situation.
Oh, wow. Okay. Really good question. Okay. So that was a district-wide thing. I went to school in Dallas ISD. And so there were over 80, I want to say 80 something kids that auditioned for the show. And I was chosen. So you just auditioned. You remember the script. They pulled you back to a room. You said the script in front of a camera. You had a number. You had a name. They go back and look at it. They pick who they want. And so with that being said, I guess it was just talent. You know, I wanted it so badly and I just claimed it. I put it out in the universe and I really just claimed that it was mine. And sure enough, it was. And that felt really good. I think I just practiced and practiced and practiced. And I knew those lines like the back of my hand. And I knew exactly how I wanted to deliver them and how I wanted to be relatable through camera. So practice. Yeah.
And like when you're kind of practicing and, you know, being able to kind of deliver the school news, was that, you know, did that transition well over to UTA? Like, did you know that you wanted to major in, was it like broadcasting?
Yes. So UTA has a communication broadcast. And so I knew exactly what I wanted to go to college for. When I went in, it was communication broadcast. But when I got there, I didn't know that there was a difference between TV broadcast and radio broadcast. And so with my major, it kind of split once you got into your major classes or broadcast classes. It kind of split. Do you want to go the radio route or do you want to go the TV route? And I chose the radio route. And when I did, I discovered that, oh, this is pretty awesome. I still have to get up early in the morning, but I can dress how I want to. It kind of gave me the freedom to be a bum, but still have those skills.
Mm-hmm. Is there, like, when you're having to decide on the TV route or the radio route, kind of in your major, I mean, what are some of the other proponents that come into it? Is there like a different, like personality or interview needed when it comes to going into radio versus like TV?
Yes, and the main reason why I chose radio is because I could be myself more so than TV. With TV, yeah, you have to get dressed up or whatever, but you can't necessarily, I want to say, be yourself, especially with the field that I wanted to go in. I wanted to be a news anchor. So it's reporting someone else's news. It's reporting hard news at that, whether you're doing weather, traffic, or I don't know, domestic stories or community related stories. I feel like it's all kind of hard news and it's kind of hard for you to develop a personality behind that. And with radio, it was like, that's all they were looking for was personality behind the microphone because that's what sells, because you can only hear. And so I think that's what led me to take the broadcast route. I had more freedom, a little bit more liberty with what I could say.
And like, I guess like how much autonomy did you have on, I guess like the research or the writing route? Did they, I guess, tell you like a specific opinion you had to have, or did they say like you have 100% autonomy over like what you think about the subject?
Is that as far as radio?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we had complete autonomy. I mean, from what kind of show we wanted to run, the name of the show, what slogan we wanted, what kind of promotion we wanted to run when we weren't on air, from what we wanted to talk about, what were the topics, what guests do you want to have on, what kind of questions do you want to ask, what do you want your flyer to look like? I mean, we had total autonomy. Even when it came to when the show was on air, we were controlling the boards. We were choosing the music that we wanted to play before we came back on air, when we were coming back from the break. So we had total autonomy, and I think that was the most and the best experience that I've received thus far.
Mm-hmm. And kind of when you're like setting that up, I remember kind of reading about one of your courses at UTA, radio broadcasting, with, I think, a professor, it was Lance something. And I was kind of wondering on, was there anything important that you learned from maybe his course specifically that prepared you a lot for like radio broadcasting?
Yeah, so cool. So his name is Lance Legas, Professor Legas, but we called him Lance because he was cool with that. And so I still talk to Lance this day. That's funny. He just commented on one of my posts, because I'm like, shout out to UTA's broadcast department. Lance's class was literally the best class ever, because he really broke it down to us. He was like, okay, when you first started radio, you're not going to make any money. You're going to probably start in a smaller market. But he gave us full range. And with his class, we had to have on-air time at UTA Radio. That we were able to do that because I don't know, I was really big into radio at that time. I would listen to morning shows in the morning and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, like I finally get the experience that I really want to get. And it was hands-on, and it was literally whatever we wanted to do. So when we first started the show, it was just solo. So this is before Lex in the Box was even created. This is just for the show. We had to do an hour a week for radio, UTA radio. So it kind of got your feet wet a little bit. You got a chance to feel what it feels like to be on air, what it feels like to speak to an audience that you don't see. So that's always awesome. But Lance Legas, I gained a lot of experience because we got a lot of we made a lot of like commercials. We made a lot of commercials and promotions in that class, and learned how to edit with Adobe, not Premiere, but Adobe. What's the audio software? I can't think of it right now, but Adobe Audition. Adobe Audition. We edited with that. So we learned how to edit audio and just a lot of stuff in that class. So shout out to Lance Legas. Mm-hmm.
And I remember kind of around one of these courses, you were kind of mentioning about starting a broadcast with a friend before. I remembered it being called like the Royal Tea at UTA. Yeah. And I was kind of wondering, kind of going from that to your current system, did you, I guess, prefer having like the co-host of like having that back to forth dynamic, or do you kind of like, being a single host with a kind of an interview process?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Do I like a co-host? So I will say, when I had my radio show, The Royalty, I had it with my best friend, Rachel. So our chemistry was really good. Mm-hmm. It was really good. We kind of bounced jokes off of each other and just thoughts off of each other. It was a natural flow. And then when she graduated and I had to come up with my own show, Lex in the Box, I even had a co-host named Tyson. He was awesome. But his stint on the show didn't last, long. It was just kind of like a summer thing. And so would I rather a co-host or just kind of be alone? I'm gonna say I'd rather be alone, because that leaves me total control of the show. It leaves me total control what angles I want, what games I want to play with my guests, what do I want to give my audience, how do I want to look. I don't have to go based off someone else's thoughts. It can go solely based off of what I want, but which can be challenging as well, because then again, it's all on you. But I would say I like it alone.
Was there ever like a point, with Lex in the Box where kind of being the only host was maybe a little overwhelming, or you had to like juggle a lot of different tasks? Oh,
yeah. So don't let it fool you. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. The behind the scenes is crazy of Lex in the Box, especially before I started shooting at my new studio, Nexum, with my videographer and studio owner, Paul. He's awesome. But before him, again, I had my videographer, Josh, before he moved to New Orleans. So it would be solely up on us. Again, we bring out our cameras, we bring out our tripods, we bought box lights, we even bought a gimbal to hold our camera. So we can get that nice smooth movement. Oh man, from the audio, microphones not wanting to work or working. It just depends on what they wanted to do that day. Because again, we're not dealing with the most fancy equipment or, the best equipment. You know what I mean? We're just dealing with what we have. And so lighting, audio, video, angles, how many shots do we want? 1, 2 shots. From the guests to the questions to the cue cards to the outfit to the makeup. That's all on me for the most part. And granted, don't get me wrong, I still had people there to help me and assist, but it's my production. It's what I want to create, and nobody's forcing me to do anything. It's all on me. This is what I want to create. And so there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure. I was involved in every aspect of the show, but I absolutely loved it, which still drives me to do it today.
And like on the topic of kind of some of the equipment that you worked with, is there any like, I guess, specific cameras or mixers or anything like that you maybe highly recommend for someone like just starting out? Maybe they have a few $100 to kind of invest in their creative passions?
I'm not going to recommend any cameras or equipment, honestly. I think I'm still trying to figure that thing out. But I recommend, if you don't have one, all my Android users, you have to switch to an iPhone. You have to switch to an iPhone. I don't care. This baby right here is everything. So if you don't have a camera, I say, and if you don't have an iPhone, I say invest in an iPhone. And if you do have an iPhone, invest in audio equipment, whether that's on Amazon. I don't care if it's the cheapest thing you can find. It's all about starting somewhere. So I'm not going to suggest anything and have you go spend hundreds of dollars. You probably have only $100 to work with. So if that's being said, iPhone, microphone, good lighting. And then try to find somewhere that's free. So again, all these fancy apartments, they have nice game rooms, nice lounges that you can use. All you need is good lighting and good audio. Period. Good lighting, good audio, and of course, good content. But as far as on the equipment side, lighting, audio. That's it.
Was there anyone like that you want to give a shout out to that possibly maybe helped you out as far as like locations or, kind of helping you out with equipment or anything like starting off?
With starting off, I want to give a thanks to Josh, videographer Denzel, who was kind of like the assistant. He was really just, hey, you need a dry erase marker? I got your dry erase marker, and it's the little things that count, because without those, there would be no show. I want to thank my sisters for the support and just being there. My friend Rachel, who I used to do the show with, The Royalty, and everybody who showed up for the show. For example, older people that I've worked with, like Cat Daddy, Tashara Parker, you name it, Lady J, Dee Dee in the Morning, like all my K104 family, shout out to them, because they really, 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 really have supported me and have been on the show and continue to push me to go further. As far as the beginning of the show, oh my goodness, Josh, Denzel, Rachel, Brittany, so many people, because it's those little things that pushed me to go further to make a bigger production that I do now at Nexum Studios.
And I remember kind of seeing like a kind of video, I think it was one of your kind of most recent videos that you put on Instagram on kind of you at Kevin Hawkins' live concert. And I was kind of wondering, and you're kind of going up to everyone and being able to interview them. I was kind of wondering, in like situations like that, do you, I guess, like to do research and like develop a script or anything like that? Or do you kind of like to freestyle it? What's kind of like your strategy going to situations like that?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that was more so like a red carpet deal. So you definitely want to do your research and know the person, know a little bit about them. With Kevin Hawkins, I'd never heard of him prior to me hearing about his show. I heard about him through a friend, so I was sure to brush up and do my research and kind of figure out, what kind of music does he sing? Where is he from? What, just basic stuff, right? And so you kind of build your questions from there, depending on the vibe. And then he had his musicians there, which I didn't know I would be interviewing, right? But you kind of, with that type of thing, you kind of go with the flow. So it kind of goes based off what you know prior to interviewing the people. But if you know who you're going to interview, I would suggest you do all the research that you can before you do. But sometimes you're thrown in those situations where you don't know. And so you have to go off the dome. And sometimes that's okay. But just be prepared to go off the dome if that does happen.
And how were you able to, I guess, like develop partnerships like that? Being able to, being invited to kind of a red carpet event and being able to kind of interview the guest in, a situation like that.
Okay, so for Kevin Hawkins' concert, my friend Devin is a musician, and so he's a friend of Kevin Hawkins, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go to my friend's show? If so, I can reach out X, Y, and Z." So it's kind of more so of my friends trying to put me in different positions as well, because they know what I like to do and they know what I want to do. But it goes based off of who you know, and if you hang with people kind of in the entertainment industry, they have no choice but to invite you and bring you out to different events if they care about you and what you do. Because they know you have a passion for it. They know you have a love for it. So it's based off who you know. And if you do one thing for one person, someone else is going to want you to do it for them. It's just word of mouth. It's connections and it's networking. You got to be out here so people can see what you can do. And once they've seen what you can do, they want you. And so that's just kind of how it goes. Connections, networking, putting yourself out there, making yourself seen and known.
And like, did the passion for radio broadcasting, was that like still the strongest desire continuing after UTA and kind of at these events? Or was it kind of like, I guess, trying to be kind of a jack of all trades on, as far as like all type of media content?
So I would say upon graduation, I knew for a fact that the goal was to work at K104. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I just knew that was the goal. And a year later, I ended up getting the position after like maybe 3 interviews. And the goal was to get a job at K104, which I had done. And so after that was over, I kind of didn't know what to do or what to go for. And so the goal was to be in front of the camera, because I'd started off in TV. So since I had given radio a try and had actually had experience in that, it didn't go the way I had planned it for it to go, or kind of, I don't know, my eyes were more open now. I wanted to give the TV scene a try, and I knew giving the TV scene a try would involve me kind of starting my own thing. So I hope I answered the question.
And like, I guess, is that a smooth transition trying to go from like radio to TV, like after graduate, like after having years of kind of radio interview experience? Because I know you originally touched up on, the main difference being that, you have maybe a little more autonomy in the radio scene.
Is that transition easy? Honestly, I'm going through it now. I mean, granted, I went from being in radio, to now being like doing my own thing in TV, right? But I haven't really gotten a job or career in the TV field. And so I guess that transition would be hard, because I'm going from, again, radio with just a little bit of professional experience to trying to go over to TV, which can be hard because I guess you just kind of have to put yourself out there. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, with radio, it was easy because I had tons of sound footage, like audio footage, or like for a demo reel. Whereas for TV, I'm not going to say I don't have a lot of footage, but if I want to be a news anchor, I don't have that professional sound footage that I need. I have more so entertainment news footage, you know what I mean? So it kind of I kind of have to learn my audience, what I want to go for, and then who do I want to pitch it to, if that makes sense. So transition's hard. I'm in it now. I'm still trying to figure out who do I want to pitch to. Do I want to do hard news anchor, or do I want to do media? Do I want to do, like E-News, The Insider, Extra? Do I want to do that? So I think I'm kind of tied in between two. So for right now, yes, the transition has been kind of difficult.
And like, how has it been? I guess in the transition, I kind of noticed like your work and collaboration. I think it's like a sponsorship by Sid Factory. And I was kind of wondering on what that's mean for the business and kind of how that originally started.
Okay, great. So the Sid Factory, that's really good. Okay, you have really good questions. So the Sid Factory is a bakery here in Dallas by my friend Fatima, owned by Fatima and her boyfriend Half Pint. And they're really good because I went to high school. No, I went to middle school with Fatima. And we kind of just end up linking back up on Facebook because I saw that she was opening her own business. And I'm like, that's so cool. I went to middle school with her. That's dope. And so I went to the grand opening with my big sister. I had no plans on conducting any type of footage, getting any type of footage or doing anything. My big sister pushed me to do interviews at the grand opening. And from there, it just kind of kicked off to where I just started doing like promotional videos for them and doing interviews there at the spot. No, I think it went from the grand opening to I interviewed Fatima for Lex in the Box, and then boom, I started doing promotional videos for her. And so it just kind of grew. It's just something that I really just wanted to do. I wasn't getting anything for it in the very beginning. I didn't care to. I just kind of really wanted to promote the business and kind of pay it forward. I didn't know what would come of it. I didn't know what would it be. I just knew that, hey, it was content for the both of us. It was two black owned businesses coming together and kind of pushing that spectrum. And it kind of turned into what it is now, which is they're completely behind the business. They totally support me, and I think there's some other stuff in the works, but I can't speak on. But I think that it has led to, okay, I see what you can do. Okay, now I'm willing to collaborate with you on this. You know what I mean? So I think it comes with paying it forward. Sometimes you got to do stuff for free. People don't know what you can do until you do it. And so once you show them that, they're able to be like, okay, now I want to book you for X, Y, and Z.
And like with the creating the promotional videos for this business, is there anything like you learned, or is there anything that you think goes into having a very successful like promo for a small business?
Yes. You want to be, while you're talking, I've learned a few things. While you're talking, you want to be doing something. That's always, I think that's in acting as well. You don't want to just stand there and say your lines. You kind of want to be moving, grab a box, grab a cookie, grab a shake. As far as promotion, you kind of want to get in there and get out. Get in, get out. Make it short, make it sweet. And also you want to look out for not what's only best for that brand, but what's best for you. You know what I mean? So whether that's how you say something or how you're dressed, whatever the case may be, you got to put yourself as number one, as the priority. And then, okay, how is this looking for the business? With promotions, it can be very tricky. You know what I mean? When I get to the Sid Factory, I'm not going to lie. I just come up with stuff on the spot of what I want to do, and it comes out being pretty good. But you kind of want to put a little thought into it and make sure that you're putting both businesses in the best light and actually drawing attention and not just creating it just because.
And is there, kind of to like wrap up the episode, I wanted to ask, if there was any, you kind of mentioned, some of the projects with Sid Factory kind of under works, but is there anything just in general that, you're excited about moving forward, or any projects upcoming?
Ooh, yes. There's something that I'm really excited about, and I'm going to talk about it because I want to put it out in the atmosphere and just let it just flourish, right? And so I know I do Lex in the Box interviews on YouTube, but I want to, and I am going to start doing live interviews, very intimate settings where I have a small audience. But it's kind of like more so of a meet and greet interview, but very intimate, little drinks, a little snack, but you get to actually sit and listen to me and my guests talk about stuff that you want to hear about, but it's an exclusive for the time being. And then I'll release it to YouTube. But live interviews, that's something to look forward to.
No, that's really cool. Like, what would there be a specific like subject you would want to dive in for like one of the interviews?
Ooh, yeah. I want to cover a lot of things, whether that's mental health, as far as like artists are concerned, whether you're a singer, rapper, if you're in the industry. I want to talk about people in radio, whether you're a radio jock, radio DJ, or on the promotions team, or in behind the scenes production. I want to specifically talk about those two, and I know I have those two in the works. I'm not going to say who my guests are for those, but those two are in the works for the live interview, which I think people would really enjoy, just to actually get to see that person in person and kind of have that intimate talk with them.
No, that's that sounds like a really cool project. I would definitely want to, be a part of the audience if you're looking for a weird background character.
You're invited. You got the
invite. I knew these episodes would be good for something. Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Plugged in. See, connections, networking.
Well, I wanted to, thank you again, Alexis, for being able to kind of describe your background and, your start in kind of radio broadcasting and, trying to make that transition over into TV broadcasting and just kind of what you've been doing for everything involved with Lex in the Box, especially these upcoming projects. I think 2022 is going to be a really cool year for Lex in the Box, and definitely excited to, see what's upcoming.
Thank you so much. I'm excited too. So we'll see. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Definitely.